It's all connected. Why? It's all owned and exploited by the monopoly men. These officials of large corporations have a monopoly on products and services. They own the economy of nations. The government only gives the illusion of choice, as it is easily bought over by campaign funding and endorsements. They own me, they own you. They own every step of a product's life cycle. Extraction, production, distribution, disposal, and of course the all-important consumption. One of the only values we have left. Buying stuff. Us consumers are fueling and funding these corporations. And this is how they manage to manipulate us. Call it what you want, a brochure, an advertisement, propaganda. It's used to keep you funding their abuse of the connected earth. Let's assess how the Prantalay Corporation takes advantage of the earth in the life cycle of its products, starting with extraction. This is the stage where the shrimp is caught from the ocean or farmed. Either way, it is unsustainable and irresponsible. There is no sense of balance in the fishing industry. The shrimp are not able to repopulate at a rate fast enough to keep the system at an equilibrium. Furthermore, shrimp trawling has high bycatch rates. 90% of the catch is non-targeted marine life and is thrown back into the ocean, dead or dying. And as for shrimp farming, they are raised in underwater pens along the coastline. Mangrove forests are therefore often sacrificed to make space for them. Here are a couple pictures shown in the brochure. And now, some more accurate images. Workers are abused with little pay and terrible working conditions. Illegal immigrant workers are employed. Some are smuggled. Human trafficking, corruption, and violence against workers are expected in this industry. And as for the resources needed to create the product packaging, 90% of plastics are created with crude oil, a finite resource, of which supplies are dwindling. Let's move on to the production stage, where the shrimp is frozen and put inside the created packaging. Diminishing nutritional value and quality due to the freezing, preservation, and treatment of the product are noticed, but this is inevitable. What is truly a concern is the hygiene issues in the factories at which this stage is conducted. Though not specific to the Prantalay company, Bloomsburg magazine reporters found shrimp processing plants in Asia littered with garbage, flies buzzing around, and shrimp that wasn't being stored at proper temperatures. The ice used to store the shrimp itself was made from local tap water, which contained microbacterial contamination. And as for the product packaging, flexographic ink and components of plastic are littered with chemicals. The process of creating plastic with synthetic molecules and materials gives off a great deal of chemical pollution. In addition, toxic fumes from the chemicals used can be inhaled by workers. Now on to distribution. Transfer the product to the consumer. Though Prantalay does rely heavily on sales to restaurants and supermarkets within the country, it also exports products. Transport, particularly for export, uses a great deal of energy and causes pollution. It is predicted that 60 refrigerated cargo ships, much like those used to transport the Prantalay products, can create as much pollution as all the cars in the world, according to the Daily Mail. Consumption. In the physical consumption of the product, on top of health issues discussed before, chemicals in the printing ink could potentially migrate into the consumable good from the packaging. There are government requirements and regulations in regards to this issue, but they are not necessarily enforced. Because of how we seem to be so fond of consumption, I'd like to talk about how consumers are manipulated and disadvantaged by the Prantalay product. Here's a method of manipulation. Have you noticed the adjectives used in the brochure? The product is apparently super deluxe, premium, fresh, cheap, healthy, quality, ready to cook, chilled, ready to eat, 3rd series, pocket edition, frozen shrimp. Also, the product is relatively overpriced. The costs they cut in the process of creating the product maximizes their profit, and they increase their profit even more by increasing the pricing. Especially with high shrimp demands due to a bacterial epidemic resulting in the death of 40% of the country's shrimp output. So consumers could potentially max out their credit cards and spend the next 3 years of their life paying interest on frozen shrimp that they bought, and they didn't taste good when they got home anyway. Sounds unbelievable, almost pathetic, but it can very well happen. Last but not least, disposal. We've established that the product packaging is made from plastic, which is non-biodegradable, and burning plastic gives off several chemical and greenhouse gases. Also, The flexographic ink contains solvents such as ethanol, which are pollutants, and are released into the environment when the product is disposed. That concludes my informational video/rant. Thanks for sticking around.